Hey everybody, Tim here with tonight's episode of Star Trek The Next Generation, Season 4, Episode 2, Family. And I mean, this title says it all. It's all about family. So after all that we just went through with the best of both worlds, the Enterprise has now gone through, basically it's getting a refit so the crew gets some shore leave. And this is a great episode because it really breaks down the family elements of the Enterprise in ways that we haven't seen before. So, for example, like Troy, we see Luoxana, we've seen her several times now. And so she's not a focus for this episode. It breaks down into the others. So, for example, we have Worf. His parents, the Roshenkos, his adopted family, come on board. And we finally meet them. I love them. They're quirky and they're weird. It's just a great couple. And they're constantly embarrassing Worf, but it's in that way where he's embarrassed and anybody that meets them just thinks that they're amazing. It kind of that way, like all kids are embarrassed by their parents type situation. So I really like that. And then Guinan, this is the scene that has always stuck with me for whatever reason, where Guinan asks, why didn't you ever give him prune juice? I don't know, it just stuck. I think it's really funny. And then below that, we finally see Jack Crusher, Wesley's father. Dr. Crusher finds like a little hologram that he recorded for Wesley when Wesley's, I think he says 10 weeks old. And she ends up giving it to Wesley by the end of the episode. And this is the first time we've actually seen Jack. We've heard a lot about him serving under Picard and stuff like that, but we haven't actually seen him. So Wesley's about 18 right now. So if he died about 17, 18 years ago, it's interesting because his outfit is it's a slight alteration to the movies. Like think of like the Wrath of Khan, where it has like the flap on the chest. So I thought that was kind of interesting because once again we're kind of seeing how the Starfleet uniform evolves over the years. So we got that. And then probably the main focus of this episode, just like Best of Both Worlds, is all about Picard and the situation he goes through. This is almost a part 3 of that storyline, because it's about Picard, and he goes home to France to see his brother Robert and his wife and his son Rene. So it's really interesting. I had to look it up, but Rene, his nephew, is played by an actor that 2 years from now, in the episode where Picard gets younger, he plays younger Picard. So it's a little prolific, where he's like, someday I'm going to be the captain of a starship, and then he plays younger Picard. So I don't know, stuff like that stands out to me. I thought it was funny. This episode, it's difficult for me to watch because I mostly kind of grew up with the movies and stuff, and I've seen the movies a lot of times. And so to watch this episode and then know that in the movie Generations, Robert and Rene die in a fire. It's heartbreaking. It's a really sad episode to know their future. And this is the only episode that they're in. We never see Picard's family again, and then we see what happens to them later on. So it's a really heartbreaking episode in that sense. I thought it was also interesting that Data is not in this episode. Like I said, it's all about family, and Data doesn't really have one, so we think. And this is the only episode of the entire series that Brent Spiner's not in. That being said, the next episode is all about Data and his family. So I feel like that balances out pretty well. I forgot to mention, when Worf's parents show up, they briefly bring up the dishonor thing that happened in Sins of the Father, where Worf accepted the burden to pardon his brother. So that was interesting, and they just say the Klingon homeworld. It still hasn't been named as of yet in the continuity. I don't think it's named until roughly about the 6th movie comes out, so it should be within the next season or so. But I think that's kind of interesting. If you guys have seen this one, go ahead, let me know in the comments below what you thought of it, what you thought about the Roshenkos, what you thought about Jack Crusher, what you think about Robert and Rene and their tragic future. Go ahead, let me know what you just think about the families on the Enterprise. Thank you guys for everything. Thank you guys for going through 4 seasons, or I guess 3 seasons with me so far, and continuing into the 4th season. And I will see you guys next time for Brothers.